Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where today I'm going to be checking out a rather interesting mixture of two bands who we're interested in on this channel. Now, one of them is Perfume. Well, this is a Perfume song, but it's not being performed by Perfume. Now, I think pretty much everyone who knows Japanese music will be familiar with the song Flash. Now, Flash is actually a really popular and more recent, as far as I'm aware, song by Perfume that we reviewed on this channel quite a while ago and we really enjoyed. Now, a band who we reviewed quite a while ago was a band called Girlfriend, and we recently picked up on them again. And a lot of people have mentioned that they had a really good cover session they did where they covered quite a few really cool pop songs and did interesting versions of them. I have yet to sit down and properly listen to it, and that's what I'm going to start doing now. I'm going to be listening to, you guessed it, Girlfriend covering Flash by Perfume. Now, immediately what you can see from this seems to be set up as a studio session, so I'm expecting this to be relatively raw, but what I'm really interested in here is that wonderful quality of how do they reinterpret the song. Girlfriend have been a band who, although I've really enjoyed them, I think the one thing that we kind of agreed is that they take a fairly simple approach to everything. It's fairly simple pop rock. They do it in this really effective way where it's just incredibly likeable and at the same time does have some depth to it. It's nice how they've balanced having some depth and also a sort of permanent likability, certainly from the couple of songs I've heard thus far, that is. So I'm really interested in seeing how much of their creative chops they put behind reimagining Flash, which is a very famous song by Perfume. Anyway, enough waffle from me. Let's have a little listen and see what happens, and then we'll catch up with it afterwards. So this is Flash by Perfume by Girlfriend. I love the way it's recorded and produced already. Love how they're passing around the vocals as well. Here comes the chorus. I mean, the chorus, they're kind of interpreting it as straight rock, but the bass line is really adding a lot to it. So they've got the simple rock energy, but they're also adding that funk into it, which is keeping it from just sounding like a straight rock cover. Loving that bass work still, but the vocals as well. There's so many things hooking onto this which are making it special. I do wish they looked like they were enjoying it more, but I'm enjoying it.
Stay
Yeah, it's got a really sort of raw sound to it, which you gotta love that. All right, yeah, as always, ton to unpack on this one. Yeah, I mean, so many things I want to say about that. First of all, I guess one of the things I didn't mention before, and this is an important thing about when you do a cover, is kind of one of the most important things is actually just choosing the cover right. And people don't tend to think of this. A lot of the time people just go for the most popular song. Now, admittedly, this is a very popular song, and you could just say they just went for the most popular Perfume song, but I think they've picked a song, whether that be the case or not, that they have really been able to interpret very well. Now, one of the main reasons I say this is because when you look at what makes Perfume songs, and anything really by that producer, sound really good, a lot of the time it's the intricacies are in the writing, you know, because the sound tends to be roughly the same between all of them. They have a similar sort of set of sounds they go for. You know, there's a lot of heavy production. It's not really about the intricacy of the performance. It's more about, you know, if you like, a almost computer-esque perfection to everything. You know, the big light shows, the perfected dance choreography, the way that the music is all, you know, played through a programmed synth, I would almost be certain of. All that production is like clockwork. So when you hear it done as a live version, there's a couple of ways you could do that. You could either chase the same sound in a live manner, which I think would sound messy and wouldn't work, or you can try and interpret what about the song works as a live song for a rock band and what doesn't. Now, like I say, Girlfriend, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this because I was worried that they were going to approach it too much as a straight rock song and just kind of do it as one of their songs, but they have actually listened, I think, and interpreted things from the original with a lot of love and care. Now, one of the things I noticed most of all there is because obviously a lot of those sort of twinkly, sparkly sort of little bits of like staccato sounds that bounce around the headphones, a lot of Perfume songs, you can't really do that with a live band. It's not really something you can really pull off in a convincing way. It would, like I say, that's mostly the thing that I think would sound messy, is those little sparkly sort of sounds that are always popping in and out of each headphone and moving around and, you know, very sort of light and airy. So what they've actually done is that if you like, the stability of the song is on the top layer. You've got like the guitars playing a nicely interpreted but very simple strummy thing over the top. The vocals are nicely layered, but they're not trying to push. Sometimes you hear covers where they try and push the vocals and, if you like, try and over-express things to make, you know, give it a rock band feel. They haven't done that here. The vocals are quite straight shooting. I really love what they've done with their voices, and I think that all of their voices together sound really great. So I'm actually happy to hear that with all the multiple singing voices happening at the same time, it actually really works for them. But the complexity, the intricacy here came on the bottom layer, which is usually where Perfume themselves are quite simple. You know, you have like a fairly EDM bass line a lot of the time, and you have a drum beat, which is usually really, really simple as well, to make room for all that sparkly stuff in the sort of higher frequencies. So what they've done here is that they've got this fantastic bass line, which seems to be kind of interpreting the original, all those sort of sounds that I was talking about in the original, but in a more bass way. And that really works because it turns what was before a really sort of lively pop song here into a funky rock song. It's taking the cues, the steps from the original, and yet delivering it as something totally different. That's what I mean about a band who can really interpret things well. I mean, you got a lot of the time people will go for that sort of feeling of, oh, okay, well, if the original was a pop song and it had a lot of things on keyboards, let's play the keyboards on guitar because those are sort of mid-range sounds, and, you know, the bass will just have to reinterpret the, you know, whatever the EDM bass was, and, you know, just maybe add a bit more life to it. This is a more intelligent cover in that it's moving, like I say, it's moving the various sort of note progressions into different places. And like I say, it's just getting the most out of the song. So anyway, enough of me whinging about, well, not whinging, enough of me going on and on about the details. Let's have a little look at overall what was the effect. Now, overall, the effect, in my opinion, was that was a very worthy cover. It did bring something different to the song. Do I think it was 100% an improvement? No. I would say that it's a very good alternative. I don't think it's particularly better or worse than the original because it's done such a good job at restylizing it. The original is obviously, I mean, because of the fact it's a very heavy production song, it's always going to win out in being more punchy. But what this, again, using the interpretation well, what they've done is they've added a lot of feel, and that came especially across in the drums. I mean, the drums, again, she wasn't playing anything particularly overly complicated. The drum beat that they played here was not spectacularly different from the original as far as I can really remember. I mean, from what I can ascertain, there wasn't a huge amount being added, but what she did was she added a lot of feel. So in a more produced song, when you get the hi-hat sounds, the sounds, each one is just a copy and paste of the last. So they all sound the same. Whereas when you've got someone who's playing that on a drum kit, they can add a little bit of okay, I know I changed the rhythm there, but you can get a slight different pressure on each one. You can build up into certain bars. You can build into things. You can sort of express more through the drums, and that's what she was doing in my opinion, my humble opinion. She was expressing more through the way that she played the drums, through the pressure of the beats and everything. Now obviously on this channel we don't just kiss ass, so I'm going to go into a few things that maybe I think weren't working for this. I mean, the first thing that really struck me, and this is perhaps not a fair criticism, so I don't want anyone to take this too to heart, but I do just want to express the way it came across to me, was that the first thing I gathered when I watched that is the whole way that was presented. I think we were supposed to be getting the feel that that was a singular live performance. Audio-wise, it may well have been, but it became pretty obvious that the camera shots that you were looking at, they couldn't have all been shot at the same time because the cameras would have been visible in other shots. So that was clearly... The video was produced like a music video. They set up certain shots and they came back, performed it again and set up other shots. This is a very small criticism, but I perhaps think this was supposed to come across as being a singular live performance, and in actuality it wasn't. But then again, if it's just to advertise their ability to play live, then I have no doubt that anything you saw there they could do live. It's just maybe something about how this was produced. It wasn't quite as raw in its production as perhaps I think it intended to look to be. However, that, like I said, that's a small qualm. That's just more of a presentation thing, like maybe the way they presented this video. I would have preferred if they had just, as I'm sure they could do with no problems. Like I say, I'm not saying that they couldn't do it. I would have preferred if they had just set up like a couple of static cameras, as is so often the case in these studio live things, and just filmed it all as one straight live performance, and then done their little audio production to get everything sounding as good as it did there. The little reverberation sounds and things that just make everything sound nice and smooth. So yeah, that was a small thing. Also, like I say, with regards to the song, there was some nice little touches in there, but maybe they could have done something to maybe bolster up the last chorus, because that's one thing you can really do when you've got a live band compared to pop, is you can really throw more into the last chorus. So maybe there could have been a bit more of a crescendo they could have added. They could have gone a little bit more wild on some of the instruments just to throw it out in that last chorus. But these are all very minor qualms compared to what was basically, like I say, it was a really good interpretation. It covered all those, let's just say, it covered all those points that you want from a good cover, which is it was a well-chosen song. They reinterpreted it in a way that was not only different from the original, but also paid homage to the original. They were aware of the sounds they had and they used them well. Like I say, fantastic bass work, delicate use of the drums to make it more expressive, using all of their vocals to give the same sort of fixed sound that you'd get from a Perfume song, and then aware that they had to have something solid, putting the guitar into more of a sort of a rhythmic area, and which also gave it the quality of having that sort of rock sound. And it basically pulled off everything that you want, and it was, like I say, I would consider it equal to the original. I know some people, if you're more of a rock fan, you consider this much better. If you're more of a pop fan, you're going to consider the original much better. I personally, as a fan of both pop and rock, I see them both as being really good examples of the same thing. And, taking this song and getting the most out of it. Both have got the most out of it in their own respective styles. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I'm so glad you guys put me onto this. I do want to check out more of Perfume. I'm going to check out more Perfume anyway. I want to check out more of Girlfriend's original material, but I am also going to go a little bit further into this live session stuff. I know they did some Chiari Pami Pami songs, and that's something I'm really interested to hear, because Chiari Pami Pami songs are really fun and actually often more overflowing with craziness than Perfume's. So I'd be really interested to know how they interpret that. Do they go for the same thing, or have they got other ways that they can approach those songs? Because I know they did some KPP. But anyway, for now, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a real good pleasure, and we've done so many things on here, so please check out our other videos. But most importantly, because copyright strikes do happen sometimes, and I keep on hearing about these channels getting taken down. We've been around for the best part of a year now, but please do feel free to check out our social media so you can stay in touch, and we'll be talking a lot more about the other things we do. We've got loads of stuff going on. We've got some new programs coming out on the channel, but the music is going to be that core that we keep going. And if you're really generous, we have got a Patreon, because we do this all non-profit. That's why you don't see any adverts unless the copyright claimant is putting the advert on there. We don't put any adverts on, so any support is much appreciated. But at least, most important thing, stay as part of the community. And if you've got any opinions, if you think about anything about this video video, get in there and comment. I don't always have time to reply to all of them, unfortunately, but I do read them all and I do take them all on board as best as I can. So, like I say, just really appreciate you guys being here. So for now, from Japan, thank you very much, and ciao, ciao.